All right. Well, today, in an exciting change of pace, I'm going to be playing some Pokemans instead of Hearthstone. So there's this very funny Venusaur deck, and it has the most excellent attack name in the game to date, Jungle Dump. So we're going to jungle dump on some of these opponents, hopefully. But what's cool about the Mega Venusaur is its gigantic health. It has the solar transfer ability that's reminiscent of its original Poke Power. That, you know, if you're ancient like me, you remember Venusaur's always kind of done that. This is a worse version of that ability, actually, because this one only lets you move basic grass. The original one will let you move anything that's a grass type energy. So, you can't really toolbox with this in the, like, I didn't realize that as first. So when I first tried to put this deck together, I put in like luminous energy and some toolbox attackers, and then it couldn't move it. So I was bummed out. But anyways, 240 is still a pretty respectable amount of damage. It knocks out things up to like Raging Bolt. But what's really cool about it is Venusaur has such high health that it has a high likelihood of being able to tank a hit, and then you can go over here and return it to your hand with Professor Turo or Super Scoop Up. So this list I pulled from somebody who went to Milwaukee Regionals, Jake Ewart, and they got 80-somethingth place. I'm a couple cards off. I don't have a counter catcher in here. I have this energy retrieval. And I didn't run the shaman. So there's a shaman that protects your benched basic Pokemon from effects of attacks or from damage from your opponent. And I'm not really worried about that for my basic Pokemon because this whole deck is built to use Forest of Vitality to get off of your basic Pokemon. So we get off of that really fast. I'm not really caring too much if my benched basics get sniped. But so yeah, I'm not running that. The tech card I am running is Toedscruel. So this prevents your opponent from getting cards back out of the discard pile, which is important in the matchup with Goldango, because Goldango can actually one-shot the Venusaur because it can deal as much damage as it needs to. But if you limit the energy recursion of that deck, then they stop being able to do a lot of damage once they've knocked out one or two things. So that's why the Toedscruel is so handy. It's a grass Pokemon. We can evolve into it immediately. Final important piece of this deck, I guess. So the Venusaur is the main attacker. It allows you to move the energies around. You can move the energies off the Venusaur, return it to your hand with Turo, and then re-evolve it right away, move the energies back onto the Venusaur. But Meganium doubles the amount of energy in play. So you don't have to attach the full 4 energy. You can actually just get a couple in play, and it's enough. Which also enables us to use this attacker. So Regigigas, it's 4 energy, but it'll be 2 when Meganium's in play. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a Terra Pokemon, this attack does 230 more damage. So this would allow us to one-shot things like Dragapult, most importantly. But yeah, this is a funny deck that did surprisingly well at Milwaukee, considering its memory. But I don't know, I just I can't get over the attack name. Some of these Pokemon attacks are ridiculous, man. I'm going first. That's usually bad. Going first, you don't get to attack. You don't get to use any supporter cards. So that's not great. Also, because you're limited to not using your supporter cards, you get to see less of your deck. So the important item cards like this, your opponent can play. There's this card Badoo that has an attack for free. A lot of decks run it. It does 10 damage, and your opponent can't play any items on their next turn. So, should take the Toedscruel just because I have Toedscool. I guess. As long as I have to have it out, I might as well evolve it. So yeah, if your opponent, if you go first and your opponent's playing a Badoo deck, so the Badoo deck usually will try to sit up there with a Badoo and annoy you while they get set up, preventing you from using your items. And then once the Badoo has been knocked out, it activates cards like Countercatcher that are more like activate when you're behind on prizes. So you've now knocked out something unimportant, and your opponent's Countercatchers and stuff are suddenly active. So anyways, going second is kind of rough because your opponent has the chance to Badoo you before you've played your supporters, so you haven't been able to find all of your important item cards and play them to set up yet. So yeah, but what we do like about it for this deck is we get to the evolution turn faster. So this deck doesn't get to use the effect of Vitality Forest on the first turn. It has to be starting the second turn. So at least there's that. We're up against Kangaskhan Absol, which is all the rage right now. So there are other new Mega Pokemon. It did really well in Milwaukee. I think it had 3 in the top 8. I guess. Not sure. All right. Bulbasaur. Because this thing has 2 retreat cost as soon as it evolves, so I wanted to like get a Bulbasaur in play before I evolve it. Should I Night Stretcher back that grass energy? I guess so. And also, like, if they're planning to, yeah, they're just planning to retreat that, right? So the Bulbasaur can actually bind it down and keep it active so that they don't get to use the Mega Absol's attack as fast. The Mega Absol does 200 and it gets to discard a card from my hand, which is a disaster sometimes. So I don't have the Evolve Arunius thing, which is kind of fine because I'm like looking forward to being able to bind down this Kangaskhan here. All right, found that finally. So the Ogerpon, once per turn you get to attach a grass energy to it and draw a card. It's nice to have one of these on the bench because the Venusaur lets you move that energy around, so you can cheat some energy into play. Gonna just bind down that Kangaskhan. So what this Kangaskhan isn't really meant to attack. It has an ability that draws 2 when it's in the active. So what they want to do is they want to draw 2 with it in the active, and then they want to retreat to the delicious attack on this Mega Absol. The Latios, by the way, is giving your basic Pokemon in play have no retreat cost, so the Latios is getting is enabling it to retreat. I do wonder. Okay, so if we actually get our Venusaur set up, Venusaur is a grass type Pokemon, right? So the Absol is weak to grass, so the Mega Pokemon, their downside is they're worth 3 prizes when you knock them out. So I'm not sure whether or not my opponent has processed that yet, but it'll be pretty funny if we just get to merp it. All right, so I think my opponent is going to Turbo Energize 1 Dark onto each of these Monkey Dory. Monkey Dory lets you move 3 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon once per turn if it has a dark energy attached. I think this is one of the most broken cards ever and is currently the most busted card in Standard, but that's just me. All right, so here's this. Should I evolve my active Ivysaur? Maybe not yet. Let's do this first. I think the answer is probably not. There's that. I think time is on our side because we can just keep binding down the Kangaskhan, and they're like, what are they gonna do? Nothing. They will keep moving the damage over with Monkey Dory, but it's not a lot of damage, so there's that. They have this side deck out, so they started with it, right? I don't think they would have played it otherwise, but it's specifically to stop Dust Noir from being played. The Dust Noir has an ability that knocks itself out to put damage on your opponent's board. So first of all, knocking out your own Dust Noir can activate things like Counter Catcher that require you to be behind on prizes, but also it helps set up like key knockouts. So having the Psyduck in the deck makes it harder for decks that rely on Dust Noir to be able to knock out high HP Pokemon like the Kangaskhan from being able to do that. So I do have to worry about this. The opponent's deck, they run Penny. It's like return a basic Pokemon and all cards attached to it into their hand. So if they find the Penny, they can get the Kangaskhan out of the lock here. I don't know if that boss's orders actually accomplished anything, but they sure did it. Now they're steeping in what they've done. All right. Top deck Venusaur. Nope. I'm gonna do this. It's like this would have stalled, right? Like if they brought that up, I would have had to Turo it. I don't think I actually want any of these things. I could go for a second Ogerpon, but I'm out of energy, so it doesn't do me any good. I have too many cards in my hand to be able to dump them from you to draw anything, so I think I'm just gonna retreat and bind down with what's his face again. Yeah, I guess I'll take it. I do like that my further along evolution is safe on the bench, so if they do manage to come up and KO with Absol, you know what I should have done? I should have not played that, not gotten the Ogerpon and played the Mew, because if they do manage to Penny and bring up the Absol, they could discard my Mew and then I don't have any draw cards. Maybe I should have gotten Pheasantipity, actually. That's what I probably should have done, because then if they knocked out the Bulbasaur, I could have drawn 3 cards. Yeah, I think that's what a good player would have done. Yeah, I don't know. You have to assume that next turn they'll have the Penny, because they typically run 3. This card is ridiculous to me. So it's shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 6. If you have 6 prizes remaining, draw 8 instead. And so what's ridiculous about this to me is every time that card has existed without the upside, just shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 6, it's been an important card in the format, you know? So it's actually like an amazing card without the upside. And then shuffle your hand in and draw 8 is so stupid. Oh, hold up. I think we're good. All right, I do not need my friends Bingus and Bungus here. All right. So what I want to do is retreat for this guy. Then we're gonna gust up that Absol and hit it for 10 million. Yeah, I think it's crazy. There are decks that just like to sit behind and never draw cards, and they just get to never take prizes until the last turn or two, and they just get to sit back and draw 8 cards every turn. And just the fact that you can play it during your first couple turns for 8 is crazy. It's such an efficient draw card. I don't know. I went to a little tournament earlier this week and I brought it up, and the person's like, there have been better supporters. Which ones? You could say Professor's Research is better. It's different though. Professor's Research is discard your hand and draw 7. So if the more aggressive a deck is, the more it wants that card, and the more deck needs to reserve it conserve its resources, the more you want to shuffle card. They're like, the format just needed a really good shuffle card, and like shuffle your hand to your deck, draw 6 alone is already is perfectly fine, great shuffle card. The only card that's like shuffle your hand in and draw cards that I think there's even an argument for being better than Lili's Determination is Colress, original Colress. You shuffle your hand into your deck and then you draw for each Pokemon on the bench, both yours and your opponent's. So you can get up to 10 cards that way, unless you're having a stadium that increases the bench size, then you can get even more. But that's like it's not a win more, it's like you're already kind of set up, so you can set up more. But like you can't use that to set up initially, you know what I mean? All right, so I have the thing now. That's good. Here's the amazing play. I wish I had a boss, because like I just win right now, right? Why did they bench the other Absol? But we'll put it here. Why not? We do that. Now it doesn't have any energy on it, so put one of your Pokemon into your hand, discard all attached cards. So we return this to our hand. Now all the damage is gone. Play the stadium that says each player's grass Pokemon can evolve into grass Pokemon during the turn they play those Pokemon, except for the first turn. So look at that. Just turn right back into a Venusaur. And do I want to bench this one? Probably not, right? So yeah, then we can give the old jungle dump. And now they have to worry about returning this Pokemon to their hand. They're gonna be able to move 6. It's be a 180. It's still dead to a jungle dump. Having the Bulbasaur in hand means that I can play this and discard the other card I draw to get that Mew. And we can start drawing some cards. Yeah, so original Colress has like a much higher ceiling, right? But you can't use it to set up. You have to be set up, and then it gives you more resources. Or your opponent has to be set up, and then he gets resources. Whereas Lili is just like, you have it out the gate, and you get a full new hand without losing any of your attrition. It's so stupid. I don't know. I can't believe anyone thinks that card's not broken, because it's totally broken. It's the most ridiculous shuffle card I've ever seen in my life. I'm not complaining either. I like strong cards. Just like every time I see it, I'm like, what, how? What is this thing? All right, one of these days my opponent, so the attack on the Kangaskhan, give me that Kangaskhan back. Flip a coin until you get tails, it does 50 more for each heads. So base is 200. So if my opponent gets 4 heads in a row, it one hit knockouts my my Mega Venusaur. Well, they don't have to get the 4 heads. They have to get 5 heads, right? Because they've Monkey Dory'd it a couple times. No, 3 heads rather. Yeah, that's math. So if my opponent gets 3 heads in a row, it'll knock out the Mega Venusaur, and that will be an interesting end to this. Oh, they're just gonna go for the, okay, so the Mega Absol. Oh, they're not gonna do it. Maybe they will, I don't know. They're gonna penny it? Anyways, it has this first attack. If your opponent's active Pokemon has exactly 6 damage counters on it, the Pokemon is knocked out. So okay, they're going for that one. So goodbye Venusaur. That's what's cool about the 2 Monkey Dorys, is they each move 3. So if you have damage on board to move, you can move 6 over, and then get the knockout. All right, so what I need to do here is find some energies. This will reset that Mew's ability. Do I use it now? I don't think so. Because I just need to attack with Ogerpon. So for me to do that, all I need to do is find 1 energy, right? Let's see. Is that enough already? That's fine. So it's currently at 360. Yes, it's enough. It does 30 damage plus 30 for each energy attached to both active Pokemon, and each of my energies are worth twice as much because of the Meganium, and then my opponent's energy. So like, and they're weak to grass, so it's like double, double, double. Tons of damage. Accept it. Enjoy it. That's a pretty good game as far as showcasing what the deck is capable of. That's pretty much all it's built to do. All right, opponent's making me go first again. You hate to see it. At least this time I don't have to start Toadscruel. Here, I'll start Mew. How about that? How about that? Mew has free retreat cost. That'll be better. That's the exact same deck again. Okay, so the thing about the Kangaskhan deck is it's the hot sauce right now. You know, anyone who's anyone's playing the Kangaskhan deck because it did so well. It's all new cards. I don't think I have anything I want to do this turn. It's like the deck that's relevant in the like an actual meta deck that's running brand new Pokemon. So like the Mega Mechanic just came out. The Mega Mechanic is a little boring. It's just an EX that's worth one more prize. So like I don't even think it showcases what Mega Evolution is, because the last time they did Mega Evolution I think was one of the worst Pokemon mechanics of all time. They had to actually fix it in post. So it was when all EXs were basics, regardless of whether you evolved normally or not. You were a basic instead. Excuse me. So when the Mega Evolutions came out, you would have your basic EX. So like something like Manectric, which would normally be a stage 1, was a basic EX, and then its evolution would be Mega Manectric, or like M Manectric. They didn't say Mega on the card, in the name anyway. But when you Mega evolved, your turn just ended, right? And so, hey, I put it up there because it had free retreat. And you would just go ahead and do that to me. So they just use Clutch during your opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon can't retreat. So that's unfortunate, kind of. Do I want to worry about Toadscruel? I don't think Toadscruel is important in this match. I mean, it might be. No idea. I don't know about getting rid of that. I don't know about, like, I don't like getting rid of anything here. I think I'm gonna keep the Fez. Because they're gonna knock something out eventually, and I'm gonna want to draw. All right. So the really sad thing here, well, we didn't get the Meganium. We need the Bayleaf. Can't even quite get the restart. Unlucky. All right. I was talking about Mega Evolutions. So, I think Mega Kangaskhan actually did see a little bit of play, just because its HP was so big. They used it for something. I forget. It showed up in some deck right off the bat, but it was the only one. Like, since the mechanic had flopped, it was really bad. You know, evolving, ending your turn is bad. So what they did is they released something called a Spirit Link. It's a special item that when attached to your Pokemon, if you Mega Evolve, it doesn't end your turn. So instead of the cost of Mega Evolving being to end your turn, it was you have to run a specific item in your deck, have it attached, and then you can Mega Evolve. Which, so like, it came at the cost of deck space, which was clunky and sad. So I didn't love that. I didn't love the fix. I didn't love the initial mechanic, but after the fix, it was playable and it was fun. A lot of my favorite decks from that time period were Mega decks. Specifically, Mega Gardevoir was one of my favorites of all time. Oh, well, that'll do. So I'm gonna do this. All right. Do I mean, I'm gonna knock it out, right? Might as well get the ball rolling. Unless, because I really want to boss that Absol before before it gets pennied, because like I want those 3 prizes. Oh, I don't have the thing up. Never mind. I'm stupid. The Meganium isn't there just for looksies, you know, like it has to be active. But yeah, so the big difference between the previous iteration of Mega Evolutions and the current one, apart from, you know, the clunkiness of the previous mechanic, is that one showcased Mega Evolution, right? You were a specific evolution, and then you Mega evolved from it like you would in the game. This iteration of it, the Mega Evolution is just replacing the evolution. You go Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Mega Venusaur. You're supposed to go Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur, Mega Venusaur, right? Like that's the whole point of Mega Evolution. So it's just evolution that's worth 1 more prize card. So I think it's really boring. What I think would be perfect is really? Oh, interesting. Unfortunately, like I can't do anything with this. This is useless. Everything in my hand is useless. Oh, I need to get what would be great here is things. What would be great here is the Regigigas. So the Regigigas, this thing can't be damaged by things with an ability. The Regigigas doesn't have an ability, but it does do 330 to Terra Pokemon, of which this is one. So, what would be really nice is if we could, man, I probably should have bounced something, I guess, maybe the Pheasantipity, because they put damage on it. I'll do that if I don't get a chance to do anything this turn, which it looks like I don't. Because then I'll have room for the Regigigas. Ugh. My hand is so clunky. Yeah, I guess I do it. I need energy. I could go get it now. But I don't want to telegraph it, right? Oh, what to do. So yeah, what I think would have been really great is the level X mechanic for Megas, because level X was basically Mega Evolution. If you were in the active with a certain Pokemon, you could level it up into like a higher level. That was the idea of it. It was trying to represent like Pokemon leveling up. Oh, there we go. But it would, like, if you could just do the same thing with Mega Evolutions, you could have it be like, all right, we'll just get the Absol this turn, I think. Doing it the hard way. No Meganium for me. I don't think there's ever a world where my Venusaur gets wrecked by just this. Yeah, it's only going to deal 140 again. So we'll get our 3 prizes. And if they do Iono us to 3, you know, like at least our hand will be low enough that we can get it to lower so this can draw cards. So yeah, the level X mechanic was while you're active, you can level up your Pokemon into a higher level. So it's like very similar to what Mega Pokemon is. So you would go from Infernape to Infernape level X. You could go from Venusaur to Mega Venusaur in the same way. And like, I thought the level up mechanic was really fun. So like, it would have been cool to see something functionally similar show up again. They tried it with like breaks at one point in the XY series, and that was kind of like a less fun version of it. I don't know, but it was like a sub mechanic that was only for a couple sets, so I think their heart wasn't really in it. Are they gonna come up and clutch me? The nice thing about if they clutch me is the Mew can just dark feather this thing to death. And then we'll only need to take out either Petulant or the thing. So the Mew, choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. We can just energy or solar transfer. The old ability is called energy trans. That's what I'm used to calling it. So we can solar transfer 3 energies over to the Mew and just have it dark feather the thing. All right, I have Ultra Ball now. I can just get my Meganium. And I guess I will. Does this? Yeah, it's not going to take a more exciting prize, really. But yeah, so let me go get the Meganium. Don't need that. Don't need that. Beep, 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 boop. There's our Regigigas. Very good. I think I will go get the Regigigas. Because, like, I don't want them to Iono us and then we can't find it, you know? Should I Iono them? I have a boss in hand. I think that's important. So I guess I won't. Yeah, we have the Meganium out now, so we don't need to move all these energies. Genome hacking. Hit him with the old Dark Feather. Alright, only one more prize needs to be taken. The big enemy of this deck is one-hit KO decks, right? So like, the Venusaur has such ridiculously high health that if you're not knocking it out in one hit, like, you're never gonna kill it. So, that would have been the bigger danger, I think, is if we'd come across something like that. But, you know, we have a plan for it as long as it's, well, even if it's Raging Bolt, right? Because Raging Bolt needs to get that stuff back too. Mostly gets it back with like Stada, so I don't know. But they use energy retrieval. Anyways, the one-hit KO decks typically require you to get some stuff out of the discard pile. So the Tentacruel or Toadscruel makes that possible. All right, now my opponent's about to find out. Oh no, they read the card. So the Regigigas would have come up and done 330 to the Ogerpon. But yeah, don't be mad you lost. Be happy I won. Jungle dumped.